On his sickbed, Gandhi was roused by the publication of the notorious Rowlatt Bills in February 1919, which sought to crush the civic rights of Indians and to gag the voice of revolt. A wave of anger greeted the bills all over India. Describing them as aggravated symptoms of a deep-seated disease in the ruling class, Gandhi informed the Viceroy about his desire to offer civil disobedience in protest. In spite of the united opposition of all elected Indian members, on March 18, the Black Bills were pushed through and became law. At Gandhi's call, the country observed April 6th as a day of humiliation and prayer. Vast multitudes united into common action solemnly affirmed their resolve to disobey the bills and refrain from violence to life, person, or property. True to the pledge, prohibited literature consistent with Satyagraha was selected. Gandhi went round the city to sell the prohibited literature, and the movement was inaugurated. At a Satyagraha demonstration, Gandhi emphasized the importance of sacrifice for the eternal ideals of justice and liberty. For no nation had ever risen without being purified through the fire of suffering. To defy the Indian Press Act, Gandhi published the weekly Satyagrahi, in which he expressed his opinions unhampered by any other consideration than that of his own conscience. The country was astir. There was an orgy of arrests and convictions. On Sunday, April 13th, Brigadier General Dyer marched with his armed force through the tortuous, torrid streets and mazy lanes of Amritsar. He entered Jallianwala Bagh in the heart of the city by the narrow entrance with a firm determination to do all men to death. Debouching from the passage, he ordered the troops to fire upon the seething mass of humanity gathered for a peaceful meeting. The Bagh suddenly resounded with bullet fire, carrying death and destruction among the unarmed, unwarned people. The firing continued till the ammunition was exhausted, killing 375 and injuring over 1,000 helpless men and women. And when all was over, heaps of wounded lay near this wall. The massacre and the terrible indignity of the martial law, inflicting the humiliating punishment of making people crawl on their bellies, and the public flogging of innocent victims shocked Gandhi. When the terror-stricken people indulged in violence, it suddenly dawned on him that it was a Himalayan miscalculation on his part to have called upon his countrymen to launch the civil disobedience movement prematurely, and he suspended the Satyagraha on April 18. The weeklies, Navjivan and Young India, were launched by Gandhi to expound the meaning of Satyagraha and Swadeshi. They soon reached the farthest corners of India and put heart into the people. The Amritsar Congress, held in December 1919, under the presidency of Motilal Nehru, adopted Gandhi's gospel of Swaraj through Swadeshi and his plea for the revival of the age-old cottage industries as India's prosperity was founded on the plough and the spinning wheel. The slogan, Mahatma Gandhi ki Jai, began to dominate the Indian political horizon, and the national movement took a new shape and developed a new orientation. The spinning wheel, Gandhi said, is a national necessity. Not on the clatter of arms, but on the reintroduction of the spinning wheel depends the economic and moral regeneration of India. Slowly, the music of one of the most ancient of India's machines once more permeated society. In April 1920, when poet Tagore visited Ahmedabad to attend the Gujarati Literary Conference, Gandhi greeted him with deference and affection and appealed to the people to donate generously for the poet's Vishwa Bharti. Gandhi identified himself with the Muslims when they launched the Khilafat agitation against the unjust peace terms imposed on Turkey by Britain. The Khilafat movement adopted Gandhi's doctrine of non-violent non-cooperation as an infallible remedy. In pursuance of the resolve, Gandhi reiterated that non-cooperation would be inaugurated on the 1st of August. At 12:40 in the night that very day, Lokmanya Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Gandhi's strongest bulwark, passed away. Lamenting his death, Gandhi observed, "A giant among men has fallen. He will go down to the generations yet unborn as the maker of modern India." No man had preached the gospel of Swaraj with the consistency and insistence of the Lokmanya. On the appointed day, Gandhi gave the signal for the non-cooperation campaign by returning the Kaisar-e-Hind gold medal and the decorations received in South Africa to the Viceroy, for he could retain neither respect nor affection for the government, which was moving from wrong to defend its immorality. India responded to Gandhi's call. People straightened their backs and raised their heads. Schools and colleges were emptied and the courts abandoned. With a view to lay the groundwork of truly Indian education, Gandhi founded the Gujarat Vidyapith at Ahmedabad. Its object was to preserve the languages of India and to use them as sources of national regeneration. Manual work, which formed a part of the curriculum, fostered a spirit of self-help and independence among the students. Gandhi looked upon the institution as a place where the sacred fire of India was to be consecrated in order afterwards to radiate throughout the world. Persuading the people to adopt India's real weapon of love and truth to fight the government, Gandhi condemned the doctrine of the sword. "I want India to practice non-violence of the strong, her title of nobility. If she takes up the doctrine of the sword, she may gain momentary victory, but she will cease to be the pride of my heart." Swaraj was very much in the air and in people's thought when, in December 1920, the Nagpur session of the Congress unanimously approved Gandhi's resolution on the attainment of Swaraj by legitimate and peaceful means within 1 year, and the Constitution, as revised by him, turning the Congress into a mass organization. Thus began the Gandhi era in Congress politics. While touring the country incessantly and tirelessly, Gandhi did not lose sight of India's gravest problem, poverty. India as a nation, he observed, can live and die only for the spinning wheel. The womanhood and the masses of India have been awakened as never before at the call of the wheel. Its restoration alone will feed the millions of hungry mouths. The wasted hours of the nation should be utilized in converting cotton into cloth in our cottages. And at Gandhi's suggestion, the spinning wheel found a place in the Swaraj flag, with a white, green and red background symbolizing peace, purity and the unity of all faiths in India. Thus was born a flag for the non-violent revolt in 1921, representing an ideal to live for and die for. Swaraj and Swadeshi ran parallel on Gandhi's schedule. On July 31st, he inaugurated the campaign for the boycott of foreign cloth by kindling an immense bonfire in Bombay, not out of racial hatred, but as a sign of India's determination to break with the past. To Gandhi, the outward fire was a symbol of the inner fire, which would burn up all weaknesses of the head and the heart. In burning my foreign clothes, I burn my shame, said he. It would be wrong to give this material to the poor, for the poor too have a sense of honor. The bonfire spread all over the land. Gandhi went from village to village and from town to town. Here in Madurai, he decided to discard his cap and vest, realizing that the millions were too poor to replace the discarded foreign clothes. On the morning of September 21st, his head was shaved and he wrapped a piece of khadar around his loins. Thus he resolutely took to the loincloth. Great events seemed imminent. Gandhi declared, "It is contrary to national dignity for any Indian to serve under a government which has brought about India's economic, moral, and political degradation." Non-cooperation clashed with poet Tagore's way of thinking. Steering his bark against the current, he addressed the nation. Though the Mahatma is the master of truth and love, it is possible that real freedom of the soul may be crushed in the name of outward liberty. In Gandhi's command of spin and weave, he did not see the gospel of a new creative age. For him, the awakening of India was bound up with the awakening of the world. The warning of the great sentinel evoked a firm rejoinder from Gandhi. When all about me are dying for want of food, the only occupation permissible to me is to feed the hungry, and hunger is drawing them to the spinning wheel. Our non-cooperation is with the material civilization and the exploitation of the weak. I want the culture of all lands to be blown about my house as freely as possible, but I refuse to be blown off my feet by any of them. The revolution seemed to be smoldering everywhere, ready to burst into flames when the Indian National Congress met at Ahmedabad in December 1921. The Congress again proclaimed its faith in civil disobedience as a weapon equally effective and more human than armed rebellion, and delegated its powers to Gandhi as its sole executive authority. Gandhi informed the Viceroy that Bardoli Taluka in Gujarat was to be the first unit of non-violent mass revolt. But on February 5th, 1922, on the outbreak of violence at Chauri Chaura in the district of Gorakhpur, taking the sins of the people upon himself, Gandhi made a confession. God spoke clearly through Chauri Chaura. Mob violence, even in answer to grave provocation, is a bad augury. He suspended the intended mass civil disobedience in Bardoli and imposed on himself a 5-day fast as a penance. The long expected happened at last. On March 10th, when Gandhi was about to retire, the police party arrived in the ashram to arrest him. Feeling happy and gratified at his arrest, he equipped himself with his barest necessities. The ashram inmates joined in his last prayer and bowed to him. Blessing them, Gandhi took their leave.